page, and now I'm going live to YouTube. Good.
We're going to go into just a second here. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share button. Bring in everybody. We're going to be having a great show tonight talking about kind of our round robin where we're going to go through a bunch of topics and just have discussions about it. Some things that maybe we haven't had yet a chance to really get into. So make sure, again, hit that like button, hit that share button. We're getting going here in just a minute or two.
Yep, I'm just connecting the chat right now, and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, man, I ordered stuff for my AC, and they were like, it's going to take 3 weeks to get it. So today I called this morning, they're like, we still ain't got it. Dude, it's fucking brutal. Like, because you know we have the split entry.
The heat rises your house.
But dog, like that, you can't even be up on, like the other day, we had to sleep downstairs in the family room. We had fucking 3 fans blowing. You know, we got the little puppy. And like, I was just in my underwear, bro, and I was just like so fucking hot. Oh, it was, I woke up like 5 times. I didn't get shit for sleep. Last night was good.
Gentlemen, the show is yours. On your mark.
Welcome to Black Republican, Black Democrat this week. I'm Jamar.
I'm your other co-host, AK. Come on, how we doing, bro?
Welcome to the show, homie. What's going down?
You know, it's a beautiful day. I was telling you a little bit before. Our AC has been out for 3 weeks. We bought
my goodness.
We bought this beautiful home.
Yeah.
We got this home warranty.
Out in the boondocks, I mind you. Though.
Forest Lake, man.
Yeah, in the
we
damn
got
boondocks.
this.
So no wonder it's hot out there. They're
I
trying to run the black folks out the neighborhood.
Bro, the problem
ain't the
is
heat.
we got this home warranty, and you know you go through, you got to do all this whoop-de-whoop, and they're supposed to be sending these parts, and they were supposed to get here today, but they haven't got there. So American Home Warranty. Only reason I'm saying their name is because their customer service is absolute trash.
Oh.
And they said they would be here today on the 22nd. It's not here, and I'm just glad it's not like the end of July. But I'm just praying and hoping that we get these parts so we can get the new AC.
Yeah, I feel bad for y'all. That's if you
janky,
land in the because this has been quite actually humid.
Yeah,
you know, so
it's the worst part, man.
Yeah. What? But look, you and others stop complaining. I get that it's hot inside folks' homes and that causes folks to die and different things like that. Drink plenty of water. But here's the thing: we live in Minnesota where it's wintertime for 9 months of the year, probably 12. Okay, so I mean, this year it was cold until late May. Late May. So we deserve this. We deserve for the heat to come in like a damn wrecking ball, okay? I'm okay with that. I got heat in the car. I've got heat in my apartment. I'm good.
But here's the
Drink
deal.
plenty of water.
Here's the deal. I was born in California, but I was raised in North Dakota. I was raised in the flat, cold and frozen tundra, and I can handle the cold.
Well,
I could do things to warm up, you know, run around, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't cool down, though.
Sure you can.
Unless I put myself in water, put myself in ice, or hit the AC. So I would prefer to be really cold and just layer up with blankets than to be too hot. Because, like, I've never had a winter night that I was like, oh, I couldn't sleep because I was too cold. I'm sure it happens. But the other night, man, I literally couldn't sleep because it was so gosh damn hot. I was dying. Like the thermostat in our house said it was like 98 degrees, bro.
No, and inside.
Now we were in the lower level, and it was like 20 degrees cooler. But yeah, man, hey, happy birthday, bro.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday to you too, belated birthday. Yours is the 11th.
Yeah, yours was yesterday.
Mine was yesterday.
Yeah, man. So we both Geminis. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share button if you like what it is that we do. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate, we over these past month or so, a couple of months, we had some shows off, and we appreciate you hanging through and sticking through. But if you do like what it is that we do, we ask that you visit our link tree. Go to linktree.com/BRBD. That's going to connect you with all of our socials. We do have our P.O. box listed there. So if you do want to send us any gifts or goodies, because maybe you don't trust the internet, you don't want to be making donations online, you can hit us up there. But we would ask that you connect with us on all of our socials, our TikTok, Instagram. Look at the spicy content that I put out there. But if you really like what we do with this show, right? You like the fact that we keep political discourse alive.
Yes.
Please make sure to hit that Patreon link. And
Please.
again, Patreon.com/BRBD. And that's going to allow you to become a contributor. Mm-hmm. Now, 100% of your contribution, 100%.
All of it.
Goes to producing the show.
Absolutely.
We don't take
that guy, that gal, because we're equal opportunists. Okay?
And by doing that, it's actually what helps produce a show. And the more subscribers that we have, the better shows we can produce. And
Correct.
honestly, the more shows that we can produce. We would love to be, doing 3-4 shows a week.
That'd be at least awesome. Twice a week so y'all can hear from us,
We got to get the subscribers. So please make sure to do that and be able to connect with us.
Yeah, I beg your pardon because I haven't had a haircut. I'll get a haircut tomorrow. And so sometimes when I go back and look at the show, I can see all of these, my mustache turns gray.
Your mustache?
My mustache. So, beg your pardon. No, look, I no doubt we appreciate everyone for tuning in and then hanging in there with us. Absolutely. AK, we have got so much going on across the country, bro. But before we do all of that, we got some few people to thank.
We got some bills to pay.
Got some bills to pay.
So you thirsty, man? Or you need to send some posters. Where you gonna go, bro?
Well, if I'm you, I would go to the Weber Mart.
The what?
The Weber Mart.
I'm
talking about a one-stop shop place where you can get goods, services, services like mail-in services. Good conversation. But, of course, they got the best prices on the north side. And it's friendly service every single day from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. now that they close at 9 p.m. The Weber Mart. 44 Avenue North. The Weber Mart.
On top of that, the owner is an amazing person. He's been a longtime supporter of the show. So please do check that out. And we also have a new sponsor.
We do.
We do have a new sponsor, Dennis Smith.
If you're in trouble.
Honestly, Dennis Smith is a great guy. He's been a guest on the show when he was running for office. But honestly, he's been someone that supported what we do. Coming on the show, he said, I love what you guys do. And Dennis Smith has his own law firm. Now, if you need any assistance, help, or even just have questions about end-of-life issues, someone passes away and you are like, what do I do? I got to go through this process of probate.
It's a lot.
Or maybe you're trying to plan even before that. What happens when I pass away? And you start talking about having a will, having a trust. Please reach out to Dennis Smith. Go to Dennis at DennisSmith.com, and you'll be able to send him an email with all the questions that you have about anything doing with basically end-of-life issues. And to me, I'm a former insurance agent, sold life insurance, and I understood the value of what happens at the end of life. And a lot of people, they don't plan for it.
I.e. Prince.
I.e. Prince, man. It's one of the biggest aspects that people don't talk about. So please, again, reach out to Dennis. Make sure to send him an email. He would love to sit with you, talk with you, and help figure out this end-of-life issue. So again, Dennis Smith Law Office, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Man, look, what we like to do is dedicate one show a month to you guys, to having your posts, your shares, your likes, and your comments, making the show incredibly interactive. One show a month, and so today will be that show, a show of just plain topics, bro, because there's a lot of crap to go over, right?
Yeah.
But, we can only pick a few, obviously, with all that's going on in the world. But this is a show of topics, so make sure that today you're totally interactive. You got your phone in your hand, you got your computer in your lap. Make sure you are commenting at the bottom, and we're going to put it up on the screen and keep you involved in the show. Topic number one.
So one of the things that has been happening that's been on TV, and with the show, when we have guests on, sometimes it's hard to kind of hit all these issues. But we'll move on to this first one. Thank you, producer. Daunte Wright's family actually reached a settlement.
Yeah, he did.
With Brooklyn Center. And, we talked about the show. We've talked about Daunte Wright. We've talked about, we've had police officers on the show. And we've had a lot of discussions about Daunte Wright's family. But with this settlement, man, what do you think?
Look, I think that this is not enough, for the loss of life. I hope that the family is somewhat satisfied with this settlement. Sometimes I get pissed off when I think of the amount of money that they're offering. But sometimes I had a friend today bring me kind of back down to earth when you start comparing these settlements to Minneapolis, and then you realize that Minneapolis is a huge city compared to the Brooklyn parts, the Brooklyn cities, and those other little cities that are around it. I think Minneapolis is probably the biggest city in our state, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that's what they call the Twin Cities. The two biggest cities, right? When you think about the Justin DeMond family, got $20 million. The Jamar Clark family got $100,000s of dollars, which was anything. And George Floyd's family, whose shirt I'm wearing today, I think they got... I'm not sure. I think like $10-12 million or something like that. It wasn't,
Yeah, I can't remember.
And then this family gets $3.25 million. I don't think it's enough, but I think that it shows some type of responsibility for the police's actions in this case. I mean, she'll be out this time next year. She'll be free. She'll be home free. She'll be sweating next year like you and I. And while the Wright family will still be mourning, and when you drive by, I used to live in that area. Now I live someplace else. But when you drive by, the erection of the memorial is still up, and so it still jars your memory of what happened to this young man, and that it didn't have to happen. And so I settlement, nowadays that's what come with these type of cases, AK, and I think the Castile family got the same amount of money.
Well, it's a slam dunk because obviously Kim Potter was convicted of
lightly convicted.
Well, she's still convicted.
Lightly convicted.
In that conviction,
you and I would never get that lenient of a sentence.
Oh, I think I would probably get less of a sentence, or I'd be found actually not guilty if it was you or I.
Really?
Yeah, because if you or I, if you want to say the training that we have, right? Like if I was carrying two things and I accidentally killed someone on that, it's because she was a police officer and the way that the jury looked at it. Well, no.
No. The jury convicted her ass.
Yeah.
And it was the judge just so, I'm glad that she's retiring. Just so soft ass. But wait a minute. I thought you're conservative, and y'all talking about being soft on crime.
It's not a crime.
It is. It's a crime to kill.
No,
it isn't a crime to kill.
Manslaughter. She wasn't charged with murder.
She was wrongly charged.
She was charged with manslaughter.
Well, she should have been charged with murder, second-degree murder.
Then she for sure would not have been convicted because no jury would convict.
That's not true.
You have to have intent.
You actually should Google, and the jurors were interviewed, and she would have gotten convicted of that. She absolutely.
So you're telling me that all the jurors would have said that there was intent to commit murder?
Yes, bro, go back and Google. And I dare anyone to. They said in their mind they were not convinced that this woman did not know that she did not have her taser. Bro, nobody did. Tom or Jerry wasn't that dumb to think that this woman didn't know her taser from her gun. That's foolish. The jury was not at all fooled by that, and her ass was grass. Her ass was cooked at that moment.
What evidence could they have? And I don't even want to. We don't have to adjudicate this, but I'm saying that for you to claim that it was murder.
It's murder.
It's a legal definition that requires intent. It requires intent. You have to prove intent.
What did she intend to do then? What did she intend to do? Maim him?
According to her, she intended to tase him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
By grabbing her gun and shooting, killing the guy.
You would have to be able to provide information that her intent, and that's why they didn't charge her with murder. But let's go back to the settlement. So there's always two interesting things that always come to my mind. And again, this is coming from someone that sold life insurance for many, many years. When you talk about what that person's value was, right? And I understand in the legal world, when it comes to civil litigation, the reason that juries award such a large amount of money typically is because it's meant to be punitive, to dissuade an entity from not changing something in their training, their policy. So they want it to be painful to an entity and organization.
They want to send a message.
But it's not based off of what the value of that person's life was, because life is invaluable. You would agree, right?
Absolutely.
Because I'm a pro-life guy, but when you actually start putting a monetary value on a family, the thing that's always been so curious to me, and this people are going to say that this is crazy or mean of me to say, but a lot of these people that die at the hands of law enforcement that weren't living their life in a way that would have been productive or was not productive what value did they actually, from a monetary perspective, bring to their family? And when I talk about George Floyd, Jamar Clark, even Dante Wright, in their lifetime, would they have produced $3 million worth of value to their family?
We don't know.
$15 million.
We don't know because their lives got snuffed out by some disgusting cop who had a reckless disregard for their life. We don't know. So we don't know.
But my point is that based off of how their life was going up to that point,
we don't know. No.
Based off of how their life was going to that point, how can you project that that's what it would be? And that's what's so wild to me when I think about the numbers.
George Floyd was a gainfully employed man.
So you're saying from his age, he was going to make $15 more million?
I bet he
didn't make $15 million.
We don't know that he was quite close with NBA
out there.
He was quite close with NBA basketball players.
He was doing drugs, man.
I mean, so are the NBA basketball players. Their lives not going anywhere either.
They actually were in the NBA. And this is my point, though, right? Is that
their lives were productive until it was snuffed out by these officers.
In a lot of these cases, are far better off with this money that their loved one is gone.
True.
And I'm just saying, this is something I've thought about a lot. The value that George Floyd brought to his family is incalculable, right? Like that's your loved one. If my brother died, but I would say from a financial standpoint, my younger brothers don't bring that value, an actual monetary value to my life that's like that. And that's what's always been wild to me, man.
Well, wait, no. Listen, that's a little ass backwards to me. Again, could Dante have been a part of earning $3 million? Of course he could have. Of course, he was young. He was 21 years old. We don't know what he could have done. Now, because he was making mistakes of using marijuana, I smoke marijuana. Does that mean I'm an idiot and I don't know?
He was going to make $100,000 for the next 30 years.
So I don't. That means I can't. I can't make $130,000.
I mean, if you were living your life in that same way, I would say probably
we don't know.
Not.
Listen, because
he was young. I get it. He was young, but I'm saying,
what was he doing that leads you to believe that he was not a productive member of society?
There are multiple cases ongoing, and there's also
he makes a mistake. You made mistakes as a young boy.
There's someone that's suing his family, right?
They're not gonna get a dime.
So this money will probably get turned, or at least a portion of it get turned.
They're not gonna get a dime.
It's likely that they will, based off.
No, actually, I'll explain to you afterwards. It's already been talked about. They sued the. I'm not even going to give them the heads up of how they do it, but they won't get a dime. But that's just my point. I hope that
it's interesting the amount of money that goes through.
True,
and I get why in this case, because Kim Potter was found guilty, right? Negligence, right? Manslaughter,
murderer,
not murder. She wasn't found guilty.
She's a murderer.
But the city that employed her would clearly be liable.
And that's why we need to make sure that officers hold their own insurance so that cities could stop using taxpayer monies when these officers commit these heinous crimes.
I agree with you. Me and you are on the same. When it comes to officers carrying insurance, me and you've had this discussion. I think it makes perfect sense for them to actually carry it.
Because that's how you dissuade them. Yes, because a cop, I don't care if you make the city, my job, pay $20 million. It's not coming out of my pocket. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go kill again or.
Well, the onus should be that the department does something with their officers. But Minneapolis is a prime example of how that really doesn't matter, right? How many millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars
you
has
paid
Minneapolis
twice
paid
in
out?
2 years? You pay because the DeMond family got theirs in 2020 as well, I think.
Yeah, I'm saying
or 19 or something,
over
and
the
then
past
the George
40
one.
years, how many tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars has Minneapolis paid out? Probably a lot.
Oh, I would. Yes. So you know what? That's being. We should find it. I bet you well up to 200 to 200 million.
It's got to be a lot of money.
I guarantee you that.
So then that's the other part to me is like, so what is the having to pay all this money out? What's it really doing? Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, like I said, at the end of the day, it's the life of someone. I don't care what they were living their life like. That loss to someone is incalculable because it's their life. But when you do start to add up dollars and cents, and again, from a life insurance perspective, if Dante Wright came to me as a 20-year-old man and said, I want $3.25 million of life insurance, he probably would have a hard time getting approved for it. So
why? Because it discriminated against him?
No, because life insurance companies would be like, well, what's your net worth? Like, what are you doing? Like, why would you need that much money?
Well, he can go to Lloyd's of London and get his legs.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, he could do all that, man.
So, look, check this out, though. I honestly, in closing, bro, I hope that the Wright family is, again, somewhat satisfied with the settlement. I know Katie. I've met her a few times. She's an incredibly sweet woman. And in fact, remember you the one that notified me when she was involved in an incident about a month or so ago, right? When she was recording
in Michigan,
an incident. So, she's a sweet girl. Her and her dad, God bless them. I do hope that this does change their lives in a good way. Maybe they can now go forward and do things. Because I know she wants to set up a foundation and different things like that. So this will give her that chance to do that.
I hope it does change their life for the better, because
for sure
the trajectory that their family was going down before that point was not super great, man. I'm just saying it just wasn't super great.
We don't know.
I know.
You don't even know the family.
No, I'm saying just on paper, man, of the things that were happening in that family.
Dog,
I hope that it changed their life.
You can look at on paper of things that I've done and still say, well, bruh, no.
No. On paper, you're far better.
No, I'm not. I'm no better than he. I am no better than he.
Not from like an intrinsic value. I think all humans are equal. But
I am no better than he. No.
From if you're looking at where your life trajectory is going versus someone else's based off of that exact moment in time, and you were to make bets or odds. But again,
you know what I tell people?
That child is gone. Dante is gone. And condolences to the family, but I hope that it does make their life better.
And this is the honest God's truth. I am a functioning fuck up.
Sure.
So, hey, I'm no better than Dante or anybody else. God bless that family.
So let's talk about the big elephant that we've never really, we talked about it, I think, at the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary.
We did.
But it's been basically wall-to-wall coverage, the January
Which I haven't
6th.
seen, but like at night I can catch some of it, the replays of it. But I don't want to watch the hours of it.
Yeah.
So I can go to YouTube and catch a synopsis of it. And I've seen some of the witnesses. Look, it is pretty riveting.
So what I want to do for anybody that's watching is kind of go through what the actual purpose, because I think some people forget, like, why is there a hearing that's going on? Like, what is the select committee on January 6th? So I'm going to have my producer kind of pull up what the intent is. So when you talk about Congress, right, both the House and the Senate, they can convene committees to look into things that they believe are in the interest of the public good. And so this January 6th committee was formed, and you can go and take a look at the actual reason that it was formed, but just kind of laying out.
For the truth.
Well, the truth, sure, and that's what they say that the intent is. But
it is.
We're going to get
be some people held accountable.
That they're not doing if they were truly seeking.
There should be some people. They're not perfect hearings, but there should be some people held accountable for the insurrection that happened at the Capitol, directed by the former President Donald Trump.
Or the riot that was not directed by anybody, and it was informed by
when he threw his vice president under the bus, adding fuel to the fire, further antagonizing and saying incendiary things about your vice president that you know. Well, when people say that he knew it wasn't true, Donald Trump is that ignorant. He probably didn't know that Pence didn't have the authorities that he thought that Pence did. So I digress.
So the purpose is to investigate and report upon the facts, circumstances, and causes relating to January 6th domestic terror attack upon the United States Capitol complex. Because people, I think, forget too that there was things going on at the buildings that are attached, basically the legislative offices.
All around the whole thing. It's an insurrection.
And then the Capitol. So that's kind of what the main purpose is. And again, it's looking at, was there interference with the peaceful transfer of power, including facts and causes relating to the preparedness and response, United States Capitol Police, federal, state, local law enforcement. So that's kind of the first purpose. There's a second purpose as well. Producer, you want to pull that up, the second purpose there?
What's that?
Maybe. To examine and evaluate evidence developed by relevant federal, state, local governmental agencies regarding the facts surrounding the circumstances. So here's the deal. Mm-hmm. The purpose of the committee, is to investigate whether or not these things are true and then lay out their findings. So that's what has been aired. Now, each day that they've aired these hearings, there's kind of like a different purpose. And I caught the first night, because I truly want to hear what is it that they're saying. Now, I personally believe that this is just a witch hunt to invalidate Donald Trump so he cannot run for office in 2020.
Well, he's discriminated twice
Impeached?
Twice impeached president. I mean,
impeached but never convicted.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
you've been impeached.
So
that's disgraceful.
So listen,
it's disgraceful.
If that's what you truly believe,
it is
right.
So, Bill Clinton. So, what's the difference between him and Bill Clinton?
There is no difference. They weren't convicted.
Okay, but they were impeached.
They were both impeached. Yes, okay. But they weren't convicted.
Was Nixon convicted?
Nixon actually resigned before he was.
But was he convicted?
He was going to be, but he wasn't.
Doesn't matter. The fact is, you're impeached. Go ahead.
Well, no, that's not the fact.
It is.
So it's the difference between being charged and then actually being found guilty.
I know.
And then being sentenced.
Was he impeached?
An impeachment process is two things.
Still, you were impeached. That's not just something.
Removed from
that's
office,
not. What, not the last 4 presidents weren't. The last 2 presidents weren't removed from office because they were impeached. The fact is, it's disgraceful to be impeached.
It's disgraceful.
Yes.
So Bill Clinton should be disgraced.
Yes, he lied.
Okay.
He lied to a committee about.
I'm just making sure that you are applying.
He lied about what he did, the sexual activity. Absolutely, bro. Come on, it's just no president is gonna say no. I don't care that I got found not guilty of.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, they don't care. The fact that you were impeached is the embarrassing part because you're not president.
But in being impeached doesn't invalidate him from running. You agree, right? So that's why my position is.
We want him to run.
Position is that
please.
That what they're hoping is that they'll be able to provide enough information to bring forth an indictment. That's what I think the purpose of January 6th. That's the real reason. It is. They say that these are the 2 reasons on paper.
He's responsible for this.
You say that this is what you do.
He's partially responsible for this.
Well, that's what the hearing's trying to find out. And even if he was indicted, he'd have to be convicted.
And then when you hear the things like that his daughter says to you, and I know people like you won't care. The fact that his daughter said that, no, my father further instigated, antagonized what was going on.
That's an opinion.
It's not a, bro, she is in the, AK.
It's an opinion.
She was in the, it's not an opinion when she heard what her dad said.
That's not what she.
It is what she testified. You should watch it.
She testified about her opinion of what
it was not her opinion.
Yes, it was.
How is it an opinion when she was sitting next to her dad listening to a conversation? That's an opinion?
Yes. Because she gave her interpretation. She never said, my dad looked at me and said, I know what I'm doing is bad and I'm going to further inflame this.
So you think that she sat her ass there lying to committee about something her dad said?
She told
Come
the
on,
truth.
bro. I mean,
she told the truth.
Well, stop pulling the wool over anyone's eyes, AK. No, she just told you that her father further instigated what she said. Did you hear? I wish I knew. I wish I knew you was gonna say it so we could have found what she said, because she said in no uncertain terms that her dad further antagonized and made it worse. That's what she said.
Opinion.
It's not her opinion.
Yes.
It's what he did. It's
her opinion.
Of what he.
So
what's fact to you about this then? What's fact to you? Oh, it's a witch hunt, right?
No, that is.
That's the only fact to you?
It is a witch hunt.
Oh, okay. So if a Democrat doing it, you wouldn't mind. Oh, you would say this is a witch hunt
I would say the same thing if they were doing the same method. Yes.
Okay. So wait a minute.
Yeah.
What they did to Hillary Clinton, that wasn't a witch hunt?
Did what? What did they do to her?
The hearings, her hearings weren't witch hunts?
So one thing, what was the intent of the hearings?
Oh, I don't know. To drag this lady in and try to embarrass her over something that she had no responsibility over?
She had any culpability for.
And we know that she didn't from the start.
10,000.
No, we're not talking. We're talking about the Come on, bro. We're talking about the Benghazi hearings
again. About culpability,
and we know that she did not have any culpability. So, culpability.
I want you to understand that you can form a select committee for any purpose, right?
Of course.
To investigate something that you believe is to the public interest. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is saying that this is your intent. Now, if there were senators that came out and said Hillary Clinton doesn't deserve to, run for president. And
there were. So where were you then when they said that?
We think she's going to be dangerous to run for president.
They
invalidate.
Okay. Well, there were senators and other officials that said that. Are you okay with that?
Not leading the committee. No. You can have an opinion about something, but if you're on the committee, that's the whole point of what I'm saying, is that if the purpose of the committee is to find the truth, then that's what you should do.
They're trying to.
The way that they frame everything. So here's what I want to talk about specifically is that yesterday the hearing was about President Trump, one, they had Secretary of State Raffensperger, I don't know how you say his name, Brad Raffensperger. He's Secretary of State of Georgia, talking about the phone call that he had with Trump, which, that phone call, you can listen to the entire context of it. And then also talking with this mother-daughter couple. And I thought that was actually a really strong play for the committee. And to be honest, I think it did put Trump in a very bad position, having this woman come and testify. Now, again, producer, if you want to kind of pull up that story talking about Shay Moss. So basically, I don't know if you remember this happening. There was video from Fulton County election night in State Farm Arena, and the video showed that there was a container that got basically opened up, and the allegation, not even allegation, but the statement that President Trump and the Trump administration kept saying is that they pulled out a suitcase full of ballots, and of these ballots, 15,000 were all for Joe Biden, right? And that's what they kept on saying. So the committee was bringing up, was Trump trying to persuade you to change something? Was Trump trying to do this? And here's again, this is what it breaks down to. If you believe that Trump in general is a bad faith actor, you're not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, then you will take everything he says at his worst. If you don't believe that Trump is a bad faith actor, then you're going to say, I'm going to base it off of, what was the intention? What was his
intentions, AK?
I personally think his intentions, he did not want to lose. He did not believe it was possible that he could lose.
Well, then, okay, I'll let you continue.
But that's different than saying, oh, I know I lost, but I'm going to try and rig it so I win. I don't think that that's the case, but that's how they're trying to lay it out. And so with the case of Shay, the way that they laid it out is that when the Trump administration came out and said this woman and her mother were putting USB ballots, Rudy Giuliani used some terrible language, okay? So Trump called Shay Freeman a professional vote scammer and a hustler. Giuliani went a step further and said that they were passing around USB ports like vials of cocaine or heroin. Now that's weird. Like where was that insinuation? Why would he bring up heroin and cocaine, man?
Because he snorts. He knows.
It's just. But the reason, tying that is so weird. And what she said is that her mom was handing her a ginger mint. It was a mint. It wasn't even an electronic device. Now, I do feel bad for this woman because when they explain this, which I don't, again, the intention, if you're going to say that Trump is a bad faith actor, you're going to be he wanted to destroy this woman.
No, he didn't.
My position is that he really thought that this woman was doing something nefarious and that they wanted her to be investigated. Now, she did get a crazy amount of hate, right? Because when they said her name, people started sending her all types of crazy stuff, right? Racist messages, death threats, the whole 9 yards. And her mom sued. They sued Giuliani, which that litigation is still pending. They sued One American News, and One American News settled with him. I imagine they got a pretty good chunk of change because they ran the story showing her and then saying that she had a USB port when it's no, I had a ginger mint. So that was bad. And I actually think that of all the stuff that has came out during these hearings, I think that was probably the worst. But again, I don't think Trump's intention was to hurt this woman. His intention was this woman clearly is doing something that's nefarious. Now, he was told by a lot of people that, hey, man, this is not what was happening. But I think that the framing is to turn Trump into a monster that wanted to overthrow the government. And the evidence isn't there. The evidence is that Trump truly thought that he won. And that there's no way that there wasn't something bad going on, because you're allowed to have that opinion. But the problem is that if Trump did something if he would have called on that, you remember how long the call was, 60 minutes? At one point, did he ever say, at any point in that 60 minutes, did he say, listen here, you're a Republican. If you want to stay a Republican, you better change some votes for me. If he would have said that, game over, Trump would be indicted, Trump would go to jail. But he said, I know you can find this many votes. And when he said fine, he meant invalidate these votes because these people definitely are lying. There was fraud. I know you can find. And then he gave him all the examples of places that he can look to be I promise that there's fraud here. I promise that there's fraud here. But what do? They turn around and say, oh, Trump was telling him to create 12,000 votes. Like, again, he never said that. So if you're going to say that that's what he said, you're going to assume the worst about what he said.
Nigga, please.
So, like, honestly, about that, about taking him at his best or his worst, is it that you take him at his worst?
Nigga, please.
Like, for real, though.
Bro, when I listen to you, I honestly am so flabbergasted by the shit that you say. And you really believe it.
I do believe it, yeah.
You really believe it. And that's what's so amazing, is that what's crazy, though, bro, is here's the difference between us. When there's Democrats that I find fault in, I say so. I don't care if it's the president, my favorite president. You find no fault in Trump.
That's not true?
Bro, yes, you do. Every single thing that everyone says that Trump did bad, you have no, he didn't. Here's the reason why. You are sitting here being Trump's mind reader. You're sitting here telling me what Trump didn't say when we heard what Trump said. You're telling me that here's what his intent was when he told the guy to go find me 12,000 votes. I know you can find me 12,000 votes. You're saying, well, he meant to say.
No, based off of everything he said, though.
AK, I don't care what he meant to say.
No, what
he said. I know what he said.
No, I'm talking about what he said.
And on the call, and it's public record now. It's all over.
Yeah, you can listen.
You go, and let's mundanely listen to it together.
Sure.
Show me where he says, here in Atlanta, there in Atlanta or Atlanta County, there's 5,000 people that I think did fraud. He didn't say any of that.
He did.
No, he did not.
I watched the trial, and they actually brought up those Like, they literally played.
Can you find me that?
Yeah.
Okay, and send it to me, because I don't want to talk about it until you send it to me. Because I've heard the tape. I don't need him, and I'm an MSNBC guy.
I'm saying at the hearing.
I don't care about the hearing. When it first came out, bro, because we have a show, I like to stay informative. I don't like to just spout things out of my ass, even though folks might think they do. I've heard the conversation. I've heard the tape. I didn't hear what Trump said in Atlanta County. I'm just making up the county. In Atlanta County, I believe that there are 5,000 people. Here's what it is. Trump was so arrogant. You weren't even the host. You got the Xavier Bickets. You guys were so arrogant in believing that the guy couldn't lose that you sound like him. When people like me said, God, you are ignoring the blatant hate. So for you to tell me that he truly thought he lost, AK, that's bullshit. The man lost by over 7 million votes. There's no way in the world, not even Mitt Romney. Seriously, bro, there's no way in the world you can convince me or anybody that somebody that knew on the night of the election, I don't care about that one state. He still knew that, let's disregard that. He still knew that he had lost by over 3 million votes. So for you or anybody else to say that there was election fraud, that this guy that there was election fraud, fine. You're saying election fraud in this one state that you lost. What it was you guys didn't believe that this red state, this pure redneck red state would flip Democrat. It is a show of the times. Now,
flip back to Democrat. Because it was Democrat for like 100 plus years.
Exactly, but it hadn't been Democrat in 100 plus years.
No, since the 90s.
So now, come midterms.
Clinton won.
You guys will, if Democrats lose, you guys will say, aha! Instead of just, it's how politics work.
Okay, so let's do two things. One, let's clarify what my position is on the 2020 election before you assume what my position is. My position is that Republicans helped change election laws in ways that they thought would be helpful that ended up actually being
backfiring.
Correct. In Pennsylvania, Republicans are the one that allowed basically universal mail-in ballots. And to me, that allowed...
And let me stop you up right now.
Yeah.
And how in the last couple of elections, how have Republicans did with mail-in ballots?
Not great.
Actually, no. You're wrong. They've done better than Democrats.
No.
Yes, they have.
Not in its entirety, no. So here...
Wall Street Journal has a report. Please go back. Just come out this past weekend.
Who voted in person, though, in 2020?
No, bro. I'm not talking about in 20. I'm talking about right now, these last few elections, special elections, and that class. I think they just had one last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Mail-in balloting, Democrat versus Republican. Democrats are losing hugely by mail-in ballots. So what I'm saying to you is, Republicans now, you can't complain about that. So now that the candidates are winning, you don't have a problem with the mail-in balloting. So, not you. I'm saying they don't have a problem with the mail-in ballot.
So my issue is that by changing the voting rules, it allows that there's more potential that nefarious things can happen. But here's the second part. Okay, I'm saying that Republicans, they did that to themselves. The second part is that Republicans miscalculated truly how much people did not like Trump. Okay,
like I did Hillary Clinton.
Okay, Biden was Trump. Let me think of the best way. Like Tim Pool's a podcaster says it all the time. But Biden was Trump unelected. Like, people didn't vote for Biden. They voted for Biden.
A lot of us did, but a lot of us didn't.
I'm saying a lot of people voted for Biden because he wasn't Trump.
Yeah.
And I think that me and you had this conversation when we were out in the parking lot, like months ago.
And what does that say about Trump, though? So I'm saying, please run. Please run again, please.
So, I mean, please, if he runs again, I don't want to discount how good the media apparatus is at pushing this narrative. Right. But at this point right now, and a heads up between Trump and Biden redo, it would be a 49-state landslide for Trump.
Okay.
But here's the thing, right? So my position is that I have been saying this for years, okay? You can find me on the record going back to when I first got involved in politics. I think that fraud does happen at an individual level, at a large scale, enough to completely change elections. I don't know, but it definitely does happen. The problem with it...
Well, where's the convictions for these?
So again, I'll use this analogy. Do you ever speed and not get a ticket?
No.
Okay. So you never drive over the speed limit?
I don't. I drive within the speed limit. I'm a Democrat.
Well, most people drive over the speed limit.
It's a bad example, though, but yes.
No, just hear me out,
it's a bad example,
right?
Sure.
So a lot of people speed, but they never get caught. Right? So if you sped every day 5 miles over and you never got a ticket for it, and you sped like that for 50 years, on paper I could say you've never been a speeder. You've never been convicted of it. You have to be convicted. Now, if you drive and every time you speed you get pulled over, then I can prove it. That's what I think happens with a lot of this fraud stuff, is that you can't prove it on an individual basis. So to me, right, do I think it was enough to overturn the entire results of the election? Personally, I think no. But I believe that based off of the hubris that Republicans had and not understanding how good the media apparatus is at painting Trump in a bad way, combined with universal mail-in balloting,
the media,
the corporate mainstream media,
no, he does it
and
himself.
The establishment media,
he does it himself.
That he went to war with back when he got elected in 2016.
Dumbass.
I think that's why he lost. So
I'm not why he lost. He had bad policies. Any
great policies.
He had bad policies that disenfranchised black and brown people, and he spouted hate all the time.
When he signed the Abraham Accords, you couldn't even find like one positive piece saying like this is a good thing. It was like, here's what he really is trying to do with having peace in the Middle East. It's like
same thing he's doing right now as a former president. Same thing he's doing. So, and you don't find that bad. He finds nothing good with what this administration has done. So we should find everything great with what he did. In fact, one of the former co-hosts of this show had a post out today saying that having Batman slap President Biden, saying that he was handed a energy independent America. Where? I should smack the dude that posted it, because where the hell was he? Where?
So
where?
That statistic is about
I don't give me no statistic. It's not true.
About how much we were exporting versus importing.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so from that metric, you could say that America
was not.
Then
if that's the case,
became energy
Then if that's the case, we did the same thing in the Obama era. We did the same thing. We did the same damn thing.
We did the same thing. We had the lowest amount of imports under Trump in a long time. And so that's when you actually look, was America truly energy independent?
No.
Were they more energy dependent than pre-COVID? Yes.
No.
Yes. For
no.
Sure. 100%.
We were not.
100%.
We were not.
We were more energy dependent.
We were not.
We were.
We were not.
Yes, we were, man.
We weren't.
Yes.
How?
Look, if you look at import-export, that's what I'm saying. Look at the data. Do I think that Republicans, we kind of take the data and we try and spike the football? Of course we do. We weren't truly energy independent. I will say that Trump did this OPEC deal, and that helped Trump a lot with the price of oil and gas, because Trump was a smart businessman. He was cutting deals to try and bring down the price of energy, because he knows that low energy prices will fuel an economy. I think that OPEC deal in the long run is biting our ass, because it gave OPEC more teeth. So
which is why they're well, thank you for once saying something they did bad, because which is why now they're gouging us, and which is why the president says, look, I want to talk to OPEC, but right now, which is what you just said, they are holding the brass ring and saying, okay, you're going to talk to us, but it's going to be under our conditions.
Yeah.
And
so that's the thing.
We're going to dictate to you what we do.
Trump, with that OPEC deal, would be squeezing them by the cojones.
I don't think so.
Biden don't have that ability, man.
Absolutely.
He does not.
First of all, he does because he's known about a lot. He's known on. I mean, so what's that versus what, getting COVID and tripping into the airplane and almost dying and lying about it? Okay.
That's conspiracy that he almost died.
Really?
He didn't almost die.
He was incredibly sick from COVID.
Okay,
he couldn't even breathe.
How long was he hospitalized?
I don't give a shit. Where he couldn't even breathe.
So you think he almost died? He almost died.
What does COVID do to you? Does COVID affect the respiratory system?
It does a lot of things.
Okay,
yes.
so when you're fat and obese, like he is, it affects your circulatory system, and he couldn't breathe.
Was he ever ventilated?
Yes.
He was not
ventilated. Bro, they gave it to him when he got on the goddamn Air Force One. Yes, he did.
No, he was not ventilated. I know he got oxygen.
It's the same damn thing.
So Kimberly asked, so if you believe large-scale voter fraud exists with no evidence or sources to support your argument, do you believe it's committed equally by all parties? Are you biased in believing Democrats commit voter fraud?
He does not.
Okay, two things. Again, my argument is it's almost impossible to prove something unless you go and investigate every single person. I'm saying that if you have a system that allows things to happen that are hard to catch, that's more likely that these things happen. And I don't have any sources to it. I can tell you, go over to Cedar Riverside and go and talk to people. That's how I, not hearing a story, literally hearing from people when I was going and knocking on doors for candidates when I was going to the University of Minnesota. I'm not an FBI person. I don't have to investigate anybody. I'm just telling you about the stories that I've heard over and over and over again. Now, you can actually look into some of the cases that are being investigated by the FBI. Do I believe that it happens on both parties? Yes. Why do I believe it happens on both parties?
Well, we've had Republicans convicted. We've had Republicans convicted.
And you've had Democrats convicted as well.
Not in a long time.
But that's the problem. Like I say this all the time. Having a secure election is important. Now, do I think that people shouldn't go and vote? No.
And what did the guy that Trump chose? What did he say about the 2020 election?
You talking about Bill Barr?
Not Barr, because he was attorney. He was AG.
No.
Now you got me. Now I was going to say his name. Thank you.
Bill Barr. Yeah.
No, that's AG. But anyway, the oh damn, whatever. Now you really
the
thank
dude
you
from Alabama, right?
Whatever he said. He said it's
the most secure election, whatever,
ever in American history.
Yeah. Now that's again an opinion.
No. But. Of the guy who does the security for it. Yeah. So yes, I value his opinion. Okay.
Again, but here's the problem, right? Like
he's paid to do that.
But here's the problem. Even in these recounts, when they're like in Georgia, we did the scan, then we did a hand recount, then we did this. You're doing the same ballots. Can you verify that those ballots are legitimate? And the answer is it's almost impossible. So this is the problem that we get into.
You're right. When y'all lose, y'all cry foul. You can't accept losing.
Okay,
you chew on sour grapes.
Stacey Abrams said that she won her election and that it was rigged against her. Did she not?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember saying that. Please
did Hillary
Clinton
that. Not say that she won in 2016 and that Russia and collusion is what actually made her lose?
No. I've never heard Hillary Clinton say, I won. No, I've never heard her say that. Would she say, please produce that? Go home tonight and find that, because she never said she won. She said yes.
She questioned the validity of it.
Of his winning?
Russian collusion.
Yeah, and she should have, because there was hearings and evidence that proved that there was interference. So there was Russian collusion and interference. Guys convicted from the Trump administration.
To the point that made her lose.
Listen, I think. We don't know that. But we had hearings that said yes, there was large scale Russian interference by people that were in the administration and otherwise. So again, she didn't say she won. She just said, listen, I was going to call him Robert Mueller, but it wasn't his investigation. But what's the other guy that was in charge of the investigation at the time? Not Mueller, but whatever his name is.
Comey?
Comey coming out the week of with Even Comey says that was a bad thing. For any, it doesn't matter that it was just a Democrat. For any politician to come out with that, especially knowing that you had nothing on the lady, was ridiculous. I digress. Look, we had a guest on last week. Was it last week?
Yep.
Don Samuels,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. That's running for Congress.
Yep.
And against Ilhan. That also, before he did so, sued Minneapolis because they weren't up to par with the police force. The Minneapolis police force inadequate. Whoa, excuse me. Damn, I can't even speak now. Woefully inadequate. They're down to like 238 officers on the force.
Yeah, like cops on the
beat
force.
officers.
But like their total officers, I think they're down to like 629. So the producer will kind of pull up this last story, but the Don Samuels and a group of other what would you call them?
Community members. Community members.
Yeah, community. Not this story. There's the Minneapolis police. Because we were going to talk about Jane's Revenge, but I think the Minneapolis police is a more important one. But basically, this group of litigants that live, not litigants, but what'd I say?
Community members.
Community members. But I know there's like a legal term. The people that put forth.
Plaintiffs?
Plaintiffs, yes.
Okay.
Plaintiffs. So this group of plaintiffs sued the city of Minneapolis and the city council saying that you don't have enough police officers because according to your charter, your constitution, whatever it's called in Minneapolis,
charter,
you don't have enough police officers. And so the first court said, we agree. It's pretty clear, cut and dry. You need to have this many officers. And then they appealed that decision. And then an appellate judge said, actually, that's wrong. And so then Samuels and the other litigants had to say, we got to bring the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled that Minneapolis residents are entitled to have that many officers. So it says that Minnesota Supreme Court ruled that the city charter not only requires that the Minneapolis City Council fund at least 731 police officers, but also requires the mayor to employ at least that many. So really, when you think about it, like we've talked about it on the show all the time, that the Minneapolis City Council, after George Floyd, jumped on this defund the police train. And so they did what they wanted to do to try and reduce the amount of officers. And they were okay with morale being low, officers quitting, officers retiring early, officers taking medical leaves of absence. And so they let this number dwindle down. And so right now it's sitting at, I think, 631, I think is what Minneapolis, of total sworn officers is at.
It's not that high. No.
Well, the story said that it's like either 631 or 621.
Story's goddamn wrong.
Well, again, sworn officers. So
well, okay, no, you're right because I forget. Those are officers. Also, can I speak tonight? Those are officers that are in other departments, so investigative departments. Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah. It's not like cops out in the street.
But beat officers, there's only 200 plus.
Yeah. And so this is, to me, this is a huge win for the residents.
City, absolutely.
You got to remember that the context is these are Minneapolis residents, not that live in a hotty-toddy neighborhood. They live in an area that actually had one of the most amount of homicides in the year that they brought the suit. Like, I want to say something like,
well, there's been a total of 93. I could be wrong with the number because I think we've had more since, but at least 90 plus murders on North Side alone.
Yeah. But I think
in that area they've had about 35.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they had like a huge share.
Yeah, they had a huge jump
because there's 13 wards or something like that.
Yes, there is.
So like,
yes, there are.
And not even talking about just about the ward, but like in their neighborhood, man. Yeah. Like
as he described, he hears it on a daily basis.
Yeah. So that's where this was brought forth. So this isn't some rich people that live on the outskirts, kind of close to Medina, that are like, oh, we can't have this riff out. These are people that live in the community that know people, that personally know people that were murdered by this violence, and they sued to say we need to have more cops. So I think this is a great move, and this isn't even about politics. Like, to be completely honest,
it is not.
Like,
it shouldn't be,
because the Don Samuels is a Democrat and he's running as a Democrat. The people that live over there, I think, are all Democrats.
I mean, I'm sure.
I'm saying in the neighborhood.
No, I mean, I'm sure there's not many Republicans in there.
Yeah, probably not very many Republicans.
No.
So I think this is a really good move. Like, how do you feel, man, as a Minneapolis resident and someone that's in the community?
I am extremely happy. I have yet to be able to text Don and tell him congratulations, or his campaign, and tell him the congratulations that they did win. It is a big win for the city, for the residents of Minneapolis, to hopefully curtail some of the crime, to get people in the investigative offices, to get more to partner with health assessors when they're going out to, because here's the thing, while I am happy that there's going to be a mandate of officers, I don't want to get back to what they were doing, the issues that they were having, no knock warrants, just heinously killing and brutalizing, beating folks. I don't want that. We cannot have that. There has to be specific training for these new officers, because they're probably going to be new officers that are brought in, or even the old officers. There has to be better training, more responsibility for these officers when they're proven to have committed crimes. And so we cannot go back to the circle of one we were at. Let's try to elevate the police department and of bridging the gap with the communities. But the way you do that is also being transparent about actions by officers, and then addressing the concerns of your constituents when they're telling you that we have a police department that we think that is racist, that has harbored these type of racist intents and feelings for over 150 years. And when there's an action like it was within the what's the young man downtown, Amir Locke, where you don't have the police chief come out and say, my officer did the right thing. How about coming out and or being silent until you figure out the investigation, but coming out and supporting the officers is what the status quo is. We don't need that. What we need is a transparent police department that works for everybody.
So what I'm hearing you is that you want to have more police officers that are doing the job of keeping the community safe. You don't want to just have extra police officers that are out there brutalizing people, which I think no one wants that.
It happens,
right?
though.
Does it happen? I agree that there's certain things, but I also think that there is an understanding, and we've had a lot of different people that are running for office that have different perspectives of what is crime, why is crime the way that it is. And you and I both agree that there is a movement. I don't know how strong that movement is. Maybe it's only 20%, maybe it's 25%, that believe that police are not the answer. Yeah. That the answer is to do something different than that, right? To defund the police and fund other types of services.
Correct.
But you and I and other people that, again, have been on the show that are all across the political aisle have said, but we need to have enough police, because there is something to active policing. There is something to being a deterrent. There is something to, people that have bad intentions. I'm not talking about the person that is maybe, not following the law to the T and they have expired tabs and, they drive around smoking weed. We're not talking about those people. We know that those aren't the people that are out there killing people. We're talking about the organized crime. We're talking about the actual, gangs and other entities that are moving around, they know that because of this absence of police, they can do what they want to do. We're talking about the people that are like, I want to go kill this cat. I know that there ain't no cops in the neighborhood. I'm probably going to be able to get away with it. We want that to stop by having enough police.
No doubt about it. Crime is spiking, and we have to do something about it. And I think that this can be a way and a deterrent, but it just has to be, there has to be a community involved, derived answers and ways that we go about trying to eradicate some of the crime. It has to be community driven in order to protect communities, especially those folks of color, because we have a huge distrust of law enforcement, rightfully so. And so let's try to bridge that gap, because we need officers to investigate these crimes, and we need help by our community members, because they see things that's happening in our neighborhoods. We see things, but we're not comfortable with feeling safe. We need police officers. We need our black and brown boys to feel safe when they're walking down the street, that when an officer drives by, they don't got to pull their pants up. They should anyway, but they got to pull their pants up and things of that nature, because they know that they're going to get harassed. We can't have shit like that, bro. If you're going to have a good police department, a good policing is having relationships with folks, so that, I mean, I don't know, bro. I don't want to sound out Pollyannish. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think this is good, but I just want a good police department. I think good policing does involve having good relations with the community, and we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Yeah, I think from the arguments that I've read from residents that are like, this is why we need to have more police. It's about that presence, right?
Sometimes that's a deterrent. A lot of times that's a deterrent.
When you know that there's low morale within a police department, and police are afraid or discouraged from actively policing, and it's kind of like a free-for-all. This is why I'm a conservative. I know that there has to be institutions that matter, because I believe society has certain moral codes and belief systems that, if not organized in a way that makes sense, will lead to chaos. But that's why I'm not like an anarchist libertarian, because I think that if everything is just open and free, power vacuums form, and if there's no structure, then someone will step in to fill a void. And when there's not law enforcement, I think that void usually is crime.
It's crime.
And especially when you're in areas that have higher rates of unemployment and where people are struggling financially, because if you can make a buck off of doing a quick lick versus going and working at McDonald's, making whatever, $15 an hour and getting yelled at because there's hardly anyone else working, or you can just, go be a stick-up boy and you can, grab like $400 real quick. What kind of choice is that to offer anybody? If those are the only choices, and you know that this is the case, and me and you've had this real discussion, and that, to me, that's where deterrence comes in, is because then you're really questioning, like, am I going to go catch this lick, but I could be looking at 15 years of prison, or like, the cops ain't even around. Like, my chances of getting caught are real, real low. So that's what I think it ends up coming down. I know that's not all of it, but that's a part of it. And then, like, the thing that, they've always, like, people that talk about it, it sounds crazy, but just following traffic signs, like blowing through stop signs, blowing through stoplights, smashing into cars, right? Like, that's crazy. And it's like, when there's no cops around, people are like, dude, I'll drive 60 in this 30-mile-an-hour zone, because who's going to stop me?
No, that's a lot. It over the last 2 years, it has gotten crazy. And so I think that hopefully this is, with the element of a police department, a good police department, that it does change some of those things. I don't think so. I think that we're in a society now that is way out of whack and full of evil. So thank you, Don Samuels, and those constituents that sued and won. I appreciate it. It's good looking out for us.
Good looking out. Well, man, the show's we already got an hour under our belt, bro.
And it's so quickly gone. Of course, an hour of topics. Listen, you guys should go back and make sure that you share this with your friends and look at your comments, and then continue to comment, because we'd like to get involved after the show too. So, as AJ would say, after the show, there's an after party, and after that party, I can't say So I know little Jay-Z. So. But seriously, go back and let's, we can still continue to engage, but, we can't do the show without you guys. And so topics, show like these, are dedicated to you and about you.
And make sure, again, that you help patronize our sponsors. Again, Dennis Smith, he's a new sponsor. He's got his law office. And I want to apologize because earlier I completely butchered his email address. So it's Dennis at smithlawmn.com.
Where is it?
Dennis at smithlawmn.com. I completely butchered that. But again, Dennis really cares about bringing back civility to political conversation. Like, you guys watch this show and you know that we get heated up and we might get into it, but we walk away, we always dap each other out, because I know that in his heart, Jamar's not an evil guy.
No, I'm not.
He's just wrong about a lot of things.
And I'm handsome too once I get a haircut.
But Dennis,
and we always go out to dinner the next day. So no,
we do.
We're old school political hacks, because we yell and scream and pound the table, but afterwards we talk several times a week. So no, this is help us keep political discourse alive. There should be political discourse displayed as we do. It's okay to get heated about your points. You should be passionate about it, because hopefully you can encourage or discourage or come up with better solutions, being from two different factions of either cultures, communities, and parties, and we could come up with solutions that helps everybody. That's what politics used to be about. Now it's about, I can't hang with you because you're a Republican, you shouldn't hang with me because I'm a Democrat.
Exactly. And I also want to say that for Dennis, if you need a will, healthcare directive, trust, or just help with small businesses, give him a call at 612-889-3971.
That number
and
again?
It's 612-889-3971. And his email address, dennis@smithlawmn.com.
You got that right.
Dennis@smithlawmn.com.
I'm Jamar.
I'm AK.
Check y'all next week. We got a great guest.
Oh, and don't forget, we start at 8:30 now. Maybe a little bit later than 8:30 because we're on Black Man Time.
We're on CP time.
8:30, not 8 o'clock. All right, peace.